just trying to get that money like 1-0-0-0-0-0-0-0-0-0. I'm here with Gino.
Hey, Danger, coming with them bangers. Tell me where my paper. Still on the same mission, trying to live major. Don't hate me, hate the game. I'm a player. Feeling like Pac. Represent. On my block. Try to knock me down, but I come up on top. Yeah, they wanna see me flop. Got a plot, want a lot. I won't stop on my pops. Got so many flows, it's insane. They don't really understand the game. Got a plan and it's plain, I ain't playing. I'm just trying to game. I wanna get that big bag, need that big racks. Blow up Tic Tac with a blue cheese at. I don't give a fuck about your feedback. Eat that, get back, sit back, watch me spit that kickback. Got so many flows, yeah, they think that I'm insane. Ghetto kids in a lot of pain, all about the bills, ain't shit changed. Danger, coming with them bangers. Tell me where my paper. Still on the same mission, trying to live major. Don't hate me, hate the game, I'm a player. If you a hater, I don't hate you. I'm just really happy that I ain't you. I just wanna thank you. You kept me motivated, so now I motivate you. There's a lot of cake, money on my mind like a banker. Coming through with them bangers, ain't no room for mistakes. Lot of stake, hustle till we get a lot of rooms, lot of stakes. Good kid, but I keep it gangsta. All gas, no brakes. Got cash for the case. More cash in the case. More cash in the safe. More cash on the way. Hustling all day. Ay. Danger, coming with them bangers. Tell me where my paper. Still on the same mission, trying to live major. Don't hate me, hate the game. I'm a player.
Danger, coming with them bangers. Where my fucking paper.
Said I'm taking big shots, just stop where I'm driven, no pit stops. This hot, I ain't playing like the 6th spot. Pissed off, thought I told him this a chip shot. I ain't missing cause you know I'm taking big shots. Just stop where I'm driven, no pit stops. This hot, I ain't playing like the 6th spot. Pissed off, thought I told him this a chip shot. I ain't missing cause you know I'm taking big shots. They been trying to get me cheap like a thrift shop, but I told them it's my time, check the wristwatch. They been talking way before they even doing something. Whoa. If they wanna play, let's get a tip off. Ain't no silver lining, dawg, this some rose gold. Getting new money, I'm a old soul. Yeah, I get it bouncing like a pogo. Whoa. And I'm too cold like Frozone. And my chick elastic, girl. Told them we ain't in the faking, this ain't plastic, girl. Bought a new whip and cash, now my tax is thorough. Way I'm shooting like step, but my pass is bro. The way I'm playing the field, I'm in a league of my own. And now they all in their fields, I got them all on my phone. But dog, I'm hitting the climb, I got no time on the low. Way I'm shooting is messy, the way I'm hitting the goals. I'm taking big shots, just stop. Way I'm driven, no pit stops. This hot, I ain't playing like the 6th spot. Pissed off, thought I told him this a chip shot. I ain't missing cause you know I'm taking big shots. Just stop where I'm driven, no pit stops. This hot, I ain't playing like the 6th spot. Pissed off, thought I told him this a chip shot. I ain't missing cause you know I'm taking big shots. I just left, but you know I'm coming back though. Whoa. And you know I don't play by my rags though. Now go and turn it up to the max, whoa. Send a paper to me now like a fax, whoa. Yeah. Got 2 phones ringing off the hook now. When I'm in the city, I get looks now. I was going bad, but I'm good now. Said I had to go and put my foot down. Told him I'ma get it and go. Even in the summer, man, they knowing I'm cold. I got a couple checks coming that I made out the flows. Might get a couple more popping if I do it some more. I gotta do it for real. Said I'm back in my bag. All my digits are climbing just like they all on a dash. And he told me slow down cause dog I'm moving too fast. Might go and caught me a Tesla cause dog I still got a gas. Said I'm taking big shots. Just stop where I'm driven, no pit stops. This hot, I ain't playing like the 6th spot. Pissed off, thought I told him this a chip shot. I ain't missing cause you know I'm taking big shots. Just stop where I'm driven, no pit stops. This hot, I ain't playing like the 6th spot. Pissed off, thought I told him this a chip shot. I ain't missing cause you know I'm taking big shots. Just stop where I'm driven, no pit stops. This hot, I ain't playing like the 6th spot. Pissed off, thought I told him this a chip shot. I ain't missing cause you know I'm taking big shots. Just stop where I'm driven, no pit stops. This high, I ain't playing like a 6 spot. Pissed off, thought I told him this a chip shot. I ain't missing cause you know I'm taking big shots.
Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll. And it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Ayy, on the road, here we go, here we go. Yeah, we winning by a landslide. Never see me coming on my landmine. Yeah, I ain't taking orders in command like. Yeah, you about to see me on demand like. You know on demand. If you ain't know, you about to understand. Yeah, I got the team by my side, right hand. Yeah, take it to a string, you ain't seen it like that. Yeah, and it's the dream, and we coming for the bag. Yeah, and we ain't never going back now. Future expedited, now we on the fast track now. They won't lend a hand, now they see us on the map now. It's time to act out. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll. And it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Ayy, on the road, here we go, here we go. Yeah, at the top of the class on a roll. Ayy, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Yeah, maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Yeah, on the road, here we go, here we go. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll. And it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Ayy, on the roll, here we go, here we go. Yeah, at the top of the class on a roll. Ayy, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Yeah, maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Yeah, on the roll, here we go, here we go. Here we go. On a roll, here we go, here we go.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Frankie Candles live stream. Bitcoin trying to tap on that anchored VWAP, that last level of resistance that we looked at on yesterday's market update. Guys, the final level before finally, or potentially, I should say, getting the bigger move up towards about $80,000 to $81,000. We got the money flow coming up. We just got this one last level. Are we going to see the breakout, or are we just going to reject back into the range? We're going to break it down all for you guys today on the live stream. We'll take a look at the money flow. Obviously, with money flow continuing to the upside, it does look okay for a continuation up. We'll cover the bullish case, the bearish case, and then I'll let you guys know which way I'm leaning. I think it's probably a little bit obvious based off what I just said. But yeah, we'll see what's going on. Long is cooking. Shout out to the Mafia. Welcome in, guys. Thank you for being here. We got Awesome in the chat. Welcome in. Servando Estrada. Madzilla in the chat. Darren does sing Servando Estrada. I think I already said that. Jay Millman says, can I just give you $1,000 and you run it up to 100K, please? Shout out to Jay Millman. Man, the amount of times I get that question from people I know. I've had family members ask me to do that, and I will not do it, guys, because you can lose money as well. I don't win all of my trades. But yeah, shout out to Jay Millman. Let's see. We got Lyndon in the chat, said the best TA on YouTube, hands down. Here we go. Shout out to Lyndon. Welcome in. We got H-Bar Moonboy. Guys, we're going to take a look at Bitcoin. I'll also take a look at some of the altcoins as well. We got Ethereum testing a major key level of resistance. We got a lot going on today. And, of course, as always, 80K finally incoming. Shout out to Nicholas. Yeah, I hope so. I hope so. Things are looking okay. We got the money flow coming up. We got the Aztecian Cactus Moss Water. I've been sniffing the heck out of Mrs. Candle's hands. I think we're going to be I think we're going to be good. But we'll cover everything with you guys. Of course, we'll cover the bearish case as well. Because straight direct move up to 80K. We'll talk about it. But of course, those pullbacks can come in. We'll take a look at those key levels of resistance if we do have to go for a correction, where I'll be looking for the bounce. Shout out to Madzilla, said bear market over, run it up to 100K. I'm not gonna go that far just yet. But we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it when we pull up the charts. And speaking about the charts, let's shout out to Thomas, said, can I give you 1 mil? I run it down to 1K. Shout out to Thomas. Definitely possible. Just did a scalp short at 73.3. Let's see how it goes. Shout out to Connor. We did just come up to hit our key level, which was the anchored VWAP, previously front ran. We did finally tap it. Weren't you live like an hour ago? Shout out to Chenzi. He was in the premium Discord, or the premium live stream. We were live for like almost 2.5 hours. Bears are dead. Shout out to Baluda. I never know how to say that name. But guys, we will be doing a giveaway at the end of the stream, so stick around to the end of the stream to win a free bag of USDT. Used to be Cardano, now it's USDT. I feel like we should start giving away like physical stuff. I feel like a lot of people would prefer cash. Should we start giving away like iPads or something? I don't know. Let me know. But yeah, without further ado, guys, let's go ahead and jump on into the charts. Let's get into it. All right, so this is not trading view. Here we are on Femex here. Long position up about $8,300, 8,357. That's how numbers work, right? But yeah, guys, long from the value area low. And of course, let me take a sip of this real quick. As we look at the, I'm going to start here on the medium time frames. This is the wrong chart. Let's pull this one up. I'm going to go ahead and hide the horizontal levels. And we're going to break it all down for you guys today. We'll take a look at the overall range. Of course, as you guys know, if you watch this channel, if you've ever seen this channel one time, one live stream, you will know about the magical volume profiles. Longs at the lows, shorts at the highs. I'm not going to cover this too much because we've gone over it so many times, but my long position personally is from this value area low. This is the level that we waited, and this is all going to come together when we take a look at the higher time frames. But this is the level to hold, guys, or this was the level to hold. We talked about this level being the biggest level on the chart on the way down here, talking about how, this is, in my opinion, the level that needs to hold if we are going to see the bigger continuation of the trend and keep the dream open of that $80,000 Bitcoin. And, we got the big volume gap above us here. Let me zoom out a bit. We'll come over to the daily. As you guys know, right, volume gap sitting above. We've already attempted to break out here 3 other times. We got the first test, the second test, the third test. And I do think personally, guys, this is, I could be wrong. This is not financial advice. But I do think if we are going to come up and tap this $74,000 level one more time, I do think we have a better chance to break it now than ever. And the reason for that is, of course, our money flow on the daily coming up, right? Every other time we approach this, we had money flow in the red, which, of course, is not the ideal situation for the continuation up. If we wanted to keep the dream alive here for the low, the high, the higher low, the higher high, the higher low, and the higher high to see that $80,000 target between $78,000 and $81,000 tapped, right? This money flow coming up was going to be huge, and of course, holding this value area low was the biggest level, right? If we lost the value area low, pretty much at that point, I was looking for the bigger breakdown below $60,000. We were able to hold that level. We did have the long setup in the premium Discord to go ahead and take that long position, and here we are, right? Up $8,000 and hoping for that bigger breakout. And as of right now, daily money flow coming up. We also saw the early indication here, guys. Money flow indicates the overall trend. Even as we got above this PLC, we had our major key level anchored VWAP, golden pocket 786 retracement. When that money flow is in the green, we are looking at this as the likely continuation of the uptrend. The highest probability area to put in that higher low was that golden pocket 786. We had another long setup for anybody who missed the long down here in the premium to take that long here from the POC. We actually talked, we didn't give the setup here, but we did talk about that key level of support on the live stream. We come up, higher low, higher high, money flow continues green. This is important when we take a look at the daily because it's the same kind of situation. And here we are, above the value area, tapping into our last level of resistance, guys. Golden pocket, 786. Of course, we had the anchored VWAP. Let me just pull this. I must have deleted the box. But, of course, this is the last level. Pretty much the 786. We've already gotten above that golden pocket that we looked at last night on the market update. Break above the golden pocket. Next likely place for price to go is going to be that 786. I'm going to take the golden pocket off the chart because we've already broken through it. The last level here, guys, when we talk about the last level holding us back from 80K, it is, of course, that anchored VWAP 786, and we also have our daily and weekly MPOCs up here. I'll give you the zone. This is the last level, guys. This is what we looked at last night. This is the only thing, in my opinion, holding us back from getting that bigger breakout into the low volume gap up to $78,000 to $80,000. Absolutely beautiful if we can flip that 786 to support. Very simply, if you're tuned in for the key levels, this is the last level. Just like this was the biggest level to the downside, this is the biggest level to the upside. Break above it, very likely fast move up to $80,000 in my opinion. Pull up the visible range volume profile just to break it down for anybody who might be new here. Low volume gaps do not offer a lot of support or resistance. Once we break these lows, we expect the big capitulation down. Made a ton of money on those shorts. And on the way back up, this gap is still here. And again, 1, 2, 3, 4 times we're about to test this level. More times you knock on the door, the more likely that door is to open. And of course, now we do have that money flow coming up, not only on the daily, but we also have it coming up on the medium time frames, like the 4-hour, 8-hour money flow, also nicely in the green here as well. So this is kind of the last hurrah, guys. This is the level, right? We are getting a little bit of a local rejection. Talked about this in the premium Discord. I mean, it is crazy. Literally talking about this anchored VWAP. I did take a scalp short. I expected it to get stopped out, to be honest, because we did front run that level. More likely than not, those key levels will get tapped. We front ran it. The reason I took this trade was because we did get the SFP. It did stop out. And literally, guys, I ended, shout out to the premium Discord. I ended the live stream like right here at 4:29, and then 4:30 we come up to tap the level. It's like the market makers are watching the live streams. But we have now tapped that level. So we can say anchored VWAP is now tapped. The beginning of the zone is now tapped. If we cannot get back above this level, this is if we are going to get a pullback. The question today that I want to kind of answer for you guys is if we do get a pullback, is it likely to end in a higher low and a higher high? And if you know anything about money flow, my overall anticipation is that it will, just based off the 4-hour, break above the PLC, higher low, higher high. Looking at the daily, when money flow is crossed into the green, money flow indicates the overall trend. It does not call the ebbs and flows, right? The little pullbacks, right? Money flows in the green. Oh, my God, we're pulling back. But what does it end in? Higher low, higher high. So at the end of the day, if we do get this red dot over the weekend, I do think that could give us a pullback from this resistance. If we do get the pullback, my overall base case here is going to be to look for higher lows and higher highs. I'll cover those key levels of support underneath us so you guys can mark them off on your chart. But at the end of the day, overall, I will be anticipating the continuation of this overall uptrend, right? For many reasons. It's not just the money flow, right? It's also the fact that we are continuing the higher lows. It is also the fact that we've tested this level so many times. More times you knock on the door, the more likely it is to open. So very simply, break above the anchored VWAP. When we talk about these anchored VWAPs, if you've watched the tutorial on the channel, we use these to find sniper entries in cases like the PLC retest, right? Or when you're looking at high time frame anchored VWAPs, these are typically resistance. Downtrend continues. Once we're able to flip this, it could indicate a macro trend change to the upside. Right now, $78,000 to $80,000 is the first major target. But at the end of the day, if we pull up the visible range volume profile, or the VPVR, as I like to call it, of course, this is going to be looked at on a high time frame as kind of local. I don't say local, but like less important resistance, right? When we look at it from a volume perspective, the high volume node is up here, essentially massive low volume gap, and then our next high volume node is down here. If we impulse out of this volume profile, the next likely place for price to eventually gravitate to, I would expect turbulence at that golden pocket, but at that point, if our money flow is coming up, we can continue to see that uptrend continue and push through the rest of this low volume gap. I would say the bigger levels of resistance here, I don't want to get too carried away, right? We are deviating above the value area, but if we actually look at the high time frame resistance levels, right, we take this golden pocket off the chart, daily MPOCs off the chart, and we look at the big horizontal resistances and the high volume nodes, there's not a lot sitting between breaking out here and really $86,000 to $90,000. And this comes back to the auction market theory that we've talked about before. We have a value area here, value area here. We knew once we lost this value area, and actually I'll look at it through the larger range, value area, and just to make it even more simple, we'll just look at this as a large value area, right? So you have value, value. Once we lose this level, an impulse out of our volume profile, the next likely place for price to gravitate to is previous value. What happens? Big capitulation. We fill that volume profile in full. And in the same kind of manner, if we impulse out of here, again, very low volume node, very likely fast move to the upside. We have the $78,000 to $81,000 zone. And then above that, right, price is naturally going to gravitate towards that previous value area, which sits between 86. And then if we really push it up here, daily MPOCs, monthly MPOC, sitting up here around $90,000, right? So like if I were to just bring up like the higher time frame resistance levels, very low volume gap, major resistance sitting up here, $86,000 to $90,000. Now, I'm not here to create hopium, FOMO, or anything like that. Trust me, if we get the rejection, we will be. I am actually still holding not still holding, but I am now holding another scalp short, which maybe it turns into a bigger trade. But again, the overall anticipation here, based off money flow, unless this money flow fakes out, the anticipation is the continuation of the uptrend. So big major targets to the upside, $78,000 to $80,000. Get these brushes off the chart real quick. Two big major levels of resistance, 78 to 81K. Get above that. I'm really looking at, around $86,000 to $90,000. You could drag this down to the 786 starting at about 84K. But these are the two major resistance levels, right? We have a little spike in volume here, but not major, right? This is essentially the volume gap sits between 90 and, the bottom of it sitting at 67K on our POC down here. So get the big breakout, 78 to 80, 86, or say 84.5 to $90,000. That's high time frame. I'm not saying we have to go there today, tomorrow, the next day, or anything like that. Of course, we'll cover this live price action as it develops. If we push up to 70 to 80, $78,000 to $80,000, right, I will be interested in potential pullbacks. But again, if this daily money flow is still in the green, we could potentially anticipate the 2-day to follow suit. If that is the case, well, we look at those pullbacks as lackluster for higher lows and higher highs, eventually targeting that $86,000 to $90,000 level. So not too shabby, guys. I mean, I have to say, money flow, not looking too bad. Now, of course, we do have to expect a pullback, so I'm going to cover the local levels here because, again, we are approaching our last level here. So if we do get the rejection, there are some support levels I'm looking at down here for potential bounces. I'll cover all of those with you guys so you can mark them off on your chart and be ready for them. Very similar to the key level that we looked at down here at the POC. All right, let me jump into chat here real quick before we jump into the local levels. I'll take a sip of the Aztecian Cactus Moss Water. I'm not going to lie, guys. This is kind of making me gag. Mango Gorgie. It tastes like a mango White Claw, which is kind of gross. Shout out to Kodak. Said, even Frankie dodged NYC. Nice move, Frankie. Shout out to Kodak. Yeah, man. I can't say I don't miss anything about New York. I do miss some things, but yeah, just can't say I'm not happy to be out of there. You can't take the New York out of me, though. That's for sure. How's the money flow looking? 21. Shout out to Monkey. I'm not sure exactly what you mean. 21 day, potentially. Let's see here. Money printer, but one bedroom in NYC. Going to jump from 5K to 10K. What are the sheeple going to say? Shout out to Kodak. Yeah, it is pretty crazy. I saw someone on Instagram last night showing their Soho apartment, and it was like 80 square feet. Kind of wild. Sam says, profit locked, running, hopefully squeak out some more gains, but weekend geopolitical volatility, who knows? Yeah, now obviously, guys, we do have a lot going on. Who knows? Could get a tweet, could turn into a massive dump, right? Again, I don't want anyone to kind of lose the it's really the same thing that we looked at on these two breakouts, right? This is a deviation above the high. We had the low volume gap, right? So there was a possibility of a breakout, but what do we see? We see the confirmations for the short. We go ahead and take that sucker down to the value area low. We look for a higher low and a higher high. We did end up getting it. We took the long down here as well. We get another failed auction setup above the value area for a move back in. We look for the bounce at the value area low. We get it. So it's going to be the same thing, right? From a trading perspective, right? If there's shorts to be had up here, we're going to take them. Again, I am holding a scalp short. But the thing that we did not have on these other approaches is that money flow coming up. Things look a lot better, right? When we look for continuations to the upside, we want to see that money flow in a big red wave looking to cross over into the green, right? It's not like we're coming up for one of the big reasons that 786 is such a large level is because if we are going to get the rejection for a new low, this is the area for it to come in at, right? Because you have the golden pocket 786. But when I look for a high, a low, a lower high, and a lower low, to anticipate that, we want to see money flow in the green coming into the red. We have the opposite of that, which a lot of times when I mention this, it's in the bearish case where it's like, hey guys, we're pumping, but I'm looking for a lower high and a lower low because of money flow, right? Coming out. If I want to see a big move up, I need money flow in a big red wave crossing into the green. Thankfully, right now we're in the situation where money flow is coming up. So I can technically say chances of putting in higher lows and higher highs is going to be the higher probability based off money flow. Does it mean that this can't, money flow can't fake out? Of course it can. You can bring us back into the range. We can eventually get the bigger move down. But there's no reason to look for that as of right now because money flow is coming up. So my base case right now is going to be to look for the higher lows and the higher highs. Let's see. Clean price action, unlike last Friday. Shout out to Sam, said good trades today using Market Cipher B and the fixed range volume profile and some other stuff. Shout out to Sam. Let's go, baby. Let's go. Massive low volume node. Bears gonna get fried. Yeah. And, back on, all of these tests, right? You get into that low volume gap, right? At the end of the day, this has been on the chart for quite some time. Now, doesn't mean that you're guaranteed to break into it. Again, money flow is kind of choppy here, and we took to short, right? You don't have to know if it's going to guaranteed break out or not. If we see the confirmations, we take the trade. We see the confirmations, we take the trade. Short, short, long, long, right? So I will take stabs at shorts up here, but again, money flow, I'm not going to be too greedy with them because of this money flow, and once we break into that low volume node, even if we don't get the move up to 86 to 90K, still a pretty nice node here to 78 to 81K, right? We break in here and we start cooking. The God candles can start coming in. So I'm not going to be looking to be super greedy with those shorts. We break above here. I mean, we're at the level, guys. We're there. Here it is. Could get really exciting if we could flip that level. So that's the biggest. I mean, this sits between, call it 74 to 73.3. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. Usually I say that in the bearish case. Right here, it's not looking great, right? I have to say, hey, guys, if we're going to hold this value area low to put in a higher low and see a massive new high come in on Bitcoin, I need the opposite on money flow, right? This money flow is coming out, indicating the drop down through the low volume gap was much more likely. We get that. We made tons of money on those shorts. And in this case, it's literally the opposite, right? Which is nice because I know a lot of people want price to go up, not down. I hate having to be the guy to be like, guys, this doesn't look good. We lose these lows, we're going to see a massive capitulation. It's nice because we were correct about it. But, I hate calling for this. No one wants to hear that, even if it is the higher probability scenario. But here, it's like, hey, guys, it's the opposite, right? Move up. Come on, baby. Come on. Let's see. Bear market reminder. Yeah, shout out to Light. Now, if we do get this big move up, guys, does this necessarily mean the bottom is in? No, right? If I let me clean up the chart here a bit. At the end of the day, we are in a bear market, right? This is still a bear market. Even if we get the push up here, this is a golden pocket. This is a 786. Could this be a lower high for a lower low? Of course. But we'll cross this bridge when we get there, right? I don't know what the chart's going to look like up here. Is money flow going to look good? Likely we'll have the indications. So, again, I don't want to cause too much hopium here. I'm not saying the bottom is guaranteed to be in here. We'll have to cross this bridge if and when we get here, right? But this would be a pretty big level in my opinion. If we pull this to the actual high, 84 to, again, almost 90K. These are going to be big resistances to look at. And it could be a lower high, right? Depending on what money flow looks like, right? We can start to look at this as a potential lower high. But until then, right, daily money flow is coming up. We'll take it step by step, day by day, level to level. But yes, we are still in a bear market. We have been in a bear market, right? The bear market does not start down here. Bear market started up here. Doesn't mean we can't go lower. But right now, I think it would make, I think this could be a potentially hated rally, right? There's been a lot of talks, right? Even in the chat. It's weird, right? As a trader, oftentimes I'm contrarian, right? When the charts are pointing up, a lot of times people are very scared, right? People want to call for lower prices. There's bad news. I do think this could be a very hated rally. I think it does make a lot of sense to have this hated rally Everyone's like, oh my God, I missed the bottom. I was looking for 8K, whatever it is. And then people FOMO in. And I think the max pain scenario could be to get people back in and then really send it down and punish them. Again, too soon to call for that. But, we're just talking about kind of the next week or so, maybe 2 weeks of price action. Right now it looks good. If something changes, we get back into the value area. I'll cover these local levels right now. Of course, if we get back down into the range, we get stuck into the range, POC could be likely, right? At that point, we can start covering, the idea of it being a fake out depending on what money flow looks like. But right now, guys, like my overall thought process is money flow comes up, higher lows, higher highs. Now, if we do get a correction from this anchored VWAP, 786, zone, right? Whether we push up again or we reject from here. The biggest level, I'm going to keep it nice and simple. I'm going to keep like all the intricate levels for the premium Discord because I don't want to over confuse everybody. But at the end of the day, right, like the most obvious level of support here is going to be the value area high. Ideally, we do not get back into this profile, right? Because once you get back below the value area high, we have to start entertaining the idea of getting the move back down towards the POC. Once we lose the POC, the probability of coming down to the value area high becomes very high probability. And we are technically, as of right now, still in a ranging structure. Highs, lows, highs, lows, highs, lows, highs. Could just be another volume profile rotation. But again, one thing we did not have on these last attempts was that daily money flow, which is why I do have higher hopes. I'm cautiously optimistic for the continuation of the uptrend because of that daily money flow, right? Money flow is going to let you identify the environment that you're trading in. It's going to keep you on the right side of the overall longer-term trend. Doesn't mean that you can't pull back, but on those pullbacks, just like back here, are you going to be looking for a massive short for a new low, or are you going to be looking for a lackluster pullback, higher low, higher high? Well, money flow here would say higher low, higher high. Shout out to anyone who was here. We call that level on the live stream. And on the daily time frame, it's going to be the same thing, right? Same theory, same thought process, right? Any pullbacks could be lackluster for higher lows and higher highs. So the biggest levels I would be looking at right now, important contextual level, value area high, $71,000. Ideally, we don't have to break back in here, right? Now, if we come back in here, it doesn't totally invalidate the uptrend, but it does make it a little bit of a more difficult situation because you're stuck inside the profile. Then you start questioning, are you going to go back down to the low? So number one, $71,000. We also have some liquidity sitting below these wicks, right? So maybe if we do have to come down there, we can go down, sweep the wicks. We ideally want to get out of that volume profile as fast as possible, right? We don't really want to spend a lot of time in here. So 71K, it's going to be the number one level, big level to the upside. Can you bounce from local levels before that? Yes, but again, we cover those more in the live stream. We have some local setups in there. But, major level, if we get a bigger pullback, you want to hold on top of that value area high. Now, if that fails, doesn't necessarily mean the trend is completely dead because we do have some other levels that we covered on the let me hide this or take this off the chart because that's already played out. The levels that we covered on the live stream, the market update yesterday is, where do I have these? I think I have these in a folder. Well, let me just I'll pull them up. I'll mark them out with you guys right now. So once we break back into this profile, if we don't hold these lows, right, if we pull up the liquidation heat maps, we do have some liquidity sitting below the low at 71.3. We have another batch of liquidity sitting below about 70,300. So 71.3 to 70,400. Right, so 71.3, you got some liquidity here, you got some liquidity here. We might want to go flush that out before continuing up. So that's going to be, again, it's going to be a zone. But again, ideally, if we do go sweep that liquidity, it's quick. We can get back above that value area high, kind of like this, right? Sweep it, get back above, hold it as support. Just from a context perspective, this is very important. If we break down below that, this is where things get a little difficult, right? Because we have a few different support levels here. Let me just see if we are missing anything. So the biggest levels, this is what we covered on the live stream. The market update yesterday. You have the daily and the POC. Inside the profile, I really prefer not to lose this point of control. In my opinion, this is going to be the biggest level. If we get accepted back into the profile, we get stuck in here, and we get the bigger drop, we want to hold this zone. Right? Because once we lose the POC, the chances of coming down to that value area low become very high probability. And the thing that makes this difficult is you could technically drag this down to the daily naked point of control. This is a gigantic level zone of support, right? So the individual levels, the zone sits between 68.8 and 67.248. I'll be viewing these as separate levels. But zone number 1, I really prefer to hold on top of that POC. If we get the bigger drop, right, back into the profile, we can start to look to get gravitated towards the POC. That daily MPOC I would look at as a backup level of support. You have to reclaim this POC in order to continue back up. Once we lose this, we can't get above the POC, right? You lose that daily naked point of control. If I had to mark these out, it's just really difficult because you got 1 level, 2 level, 3 levels, and then the 4th level's here at the value area low and the weekly. I'm going to be looking at these as all individual levels. I'll probably be taking scalp longs with tight stop losses. If I take a loss here, I'll look for another setup here. If I get stopped out here, I'll look for another setup at the value area low. But if I had to mark these levels out, I'd probably mark them out to 3 separate levels, right? Or really 2 separate zones. Zone number 1, holding the POC. This anchored VWAP probably won't be confluent. It's confluent right now, but I don't think it'll be there. If we come back down, this is going to move. But that's really your big zone. And we're kind of far away from that, so I don't want to stick on these I don't want to spend too much time on this because it's pretty far away. Ideally, we stay outside the value area, right? But in the case that you have to get accepted back in here, technically, you could continue the uptrend by holding this zone. So I would mark this out between 68,818 and almost 68K, 67,896 at the point of control. Sometimes price likes to go back down, retest that POC one more time for the bigger move up, and technically that could give us another higher low. Once we lose that, I get a little less hopeful because once we get down there, the last level is that value area low, which in my opinion, guys, I don't want to come back down here. Of course, this is going to give us opportunities to look for a long because it's a value area low. This is just typically where we look for long positions because of the volume profile. But at that point, I have to assume the daily money flow is probably cracking back into the red. The idea of the breakout is kind of invalidated. And then in my opinion, that does put us in the danger zone for the bigger breakdown towards 80K. So if we lose that point of control, I think this is a fake out for a full rotation and probably another big move down. But with the way money flow looks like right now, I am cautiously optimistic to stay outside of this, right? Maybe sweep out these lows. Once we break back in, this is the biggest level. So $71,000. Below that, biggest level, 68,818 to 67,896. It's a very difficult situation because you have so many levels, and they're kind of far spread out, right? It's not like we have the one big level right here, right? You have this, then you have this, then you have this. They're all valid. It's kind of difficult. I'll say this. I'm glad I'm holding the long from the value area low. And again, we waited so long for this level. We had the cojones to take the shot here on the confirmations, and now it's played out. One thing I would not be doing, and this is not to say that you can't aggressively continue up, I would not be chasing longs up here. Doesn't mean I don't think the continuation will happen. It just means, if I'm not long from here, or even here, right? Like, it's too late to chase a long up here. I'm not a breakout trader. I'm not going to try to, long at resistance, even if I think it's likely to break. So, beautifully positioned there. In the long position from the value area low. Hold the scalp here. If it stops out, this is the last level to get the rejection from. Once we flip this, guys, I really do think we have a daily up here, but I'm not really paying much attention to that. It's kind of by itself. And once you're above that 786 from a context perspective, once we break that 786, right? If you're looking for a high, a low, and then this to be a lower high and a lower low, once you get above this, that idea is invalidated, and the chances of taking out the high are very likely. Because of the low volume gap, taking out this high, in my opinion, will very likely lead you to $78,000 to $80,000. So, is there a trade to take right now? In my opinion, not really. Definitely not a long position. I'll say that. Too late. Yeah. Shout out to King Credible. It's like if you're not long, again, and like this was a difficult long, right? And like this is oftentimes the case you'll find yourself in. It's like by the time you feel bullish, right? Oh my God, we're pumping, right? It's like kind of all the decent opportunities are gone. Now, it doesn't mean you can't long retest or anything like that. But like for me personally, like just like up here and up here, right? Like here, we're long from lower. Here, we're long from the value area low. Like I just can't look for a long up here, right? I need some kind of a pullback. So I would say the like best opportunity, in my opinion, would be to come down and retest this zone. If we don't test it, well, you'd have to find a more local level, which, again, we cover more in that. We have a couple scalps in here in the premium Discord. I'm going to keep that for the premium just because I like to keep it a little bit more simple on the live streams. I'm in a long, too. Shout out to New Crypto or Nerd Crypto. Shout out to you, brother. Let's go. I want the Bears to get wrecked. Shout out to Big Bit Bounty Hunter. I never pray for anybody to get wrecked. But the hey, if we're gonna wreck the Bears, that's a pump on Bitcoin. Can't fade the pumps on Bitcoin. I think the news is a big factor. Yeah, shout out to Ether Eagle. I think everybody in here probably knows my stance on the news. Not something I trade off of, right? If you're trading the news, you're probably going to be too late. Of course, the news can affect the market, but I'm never going to, oh my God, bearish news, then short, right? Any kind of bearish news that gives us a big move down, more than likely, or more often than not, I'm already in a short position off the technical indications, and then the news just kind of brings us down. I'm not saying there was news here, but I always point to this situation back here. I'll say it. I know everyone's like, oh my God, he goes over this all the time, but it's a perfect example. We all remember the Trump tweet. We were short from the top based off technical indications. Now people would say, but the news, right? Well, there was news, right? But we were already on the right side of the trade. And the trade played out super technically down to that value area low. Sure, the tweet gave us a little extra volatility, but at the end of the day, price settles on that value area low. The valid trade from the high to the low was, from a technical perspective, accurate. And, I don't care what the news is, just fill in the gaps, right? And the same thing with when we talk about the top likely being at 126K, right? We know we have massive signs of weakness. These retests are likely to be faded, right? This is where I sold a lot of my Bitcoin, or most of my Bitcoin. Thank God, right? Because we saw it all money flow coming out on the higher time frames. Very likely big drop down to 90K, right? We got that drop down to 90K. And then at that point, right, we don't know what the news is going to be, but we know that the bear market is likely going to start. Weekly money flow is coming out. Very likely going to start a massive bear market. We don't know what the news is going to be. Fill in the news, right? And then down here, things start to get very aggressively bearish from a news perspective. Oftentimes, right? What are we doing at the lows? We're taking longs. I don't care if there's, down here it's very scary, right? There's a lot of geopolitical stuff going on. Oh my God, I'm scared. What if I long and then the news escalates and we get the drop? I don't care, right? I get the confirmations on the chart. I take the trade. And sure enough, you get the bounce. And who knows? Maybe there's bullish news, right? Oh my God, world peace, 90K. Well, hey, show me the charts. I'll tell you the news. I'm not saying that we have to get that news, but I think you guys get it. Great TA. Shout out to Resident Crypto. I appreciate that, brother. We're here every day. If a peace treaty's over, it's over for the Bears. Yeah. Again, I'm not going to try to predict that, but all I'll say is, let's just say, it's not 100%, right? Like if the news comes out super bearish, right? I mean, honestly, it wouldn't be shocking for it to happen at resistance. But again, could that money flow fake out and the news gives you a big dump? Sure. And another thing, I don't want to lose sight of is in a bear market, money flow likes to spend more time in the red than it does in the green, right? Hence, right here, right? You're in the red, little peek into the green. We actually use that to identify the continuation of the uptrend here. But at the end of the day, we took the short at 98K, expecting the massive capitulation. We get it. And look at that. Money flow fakes back out into the red. Not super shocking. But I don't know. Might be time to spend at least a little bit of time in the green here, right? We do have relief rallies within bear markets, right? Bring it back to 2022. All right, you can get significant rallies from here to here. That was a 43% pump. From here to here, 27% pump. From here to here, 45% pump, right? So even if it does end up being a macro, well, let's just say we do end up getting the pump. We get the macro lower high, the macro lower low. I don't know. 90K would bring you 50%, 41% to 84K. I mean, that's not unheard of in a bear market, even if it is going to continue down, right? Now, I wouldn't say that pump is alone enough to say the bottom is in. Let's see where the bull market support band is. Yeah, bull market support band, hilariously just landing right on that golden pocket. It's kind of crazy, 78 to 80K. So, again, this is definitely going to be an intermediary level that I'm watching. Once we get above that, that's where I think you open up the door to 86 to 90K. Relief rally incoming. Yeah, I think it's definitely likely. Love you, bro. Keep killing it. Shout out to Rudy. Welcome in, brother. Welcome in. Shout out to Tie guy, I think is what that says. Says if the move happens in the charts before the news comes in, does that mean it's insider trading? Listen, I'm not here. I think it would be naive or like idiotic for me to say the news doesn't move the markets, right? Like, obviously, when this tweet comes out, the tweet causes volatility, right? But what I'm saying is that, like, you can see the signs on the chart. Now, I don't ever look at it as, oh, we have a bearish confirmation here, guys. There's going to be news that comes out that moves the market. That's not the prediction I try to make. It's just like, again, I am like almost 100% a technical trader. I see the confirmations. I have my plan to come down to the value area low. That's the trade I take. I just don't pay attention to the news right now. If they came out, if that tweet was super bullish, could that wreck the trade? I mean, it wouldn't wreck the trade. It would just stop me out. Of course, that can happen, right? A lot of people will say it's like a conspiracy, right? Like, I mean, I guess it does make sense, right? If big money is moving stuff around, maybe they have inside knowledge. I don't know. I don't really look into it that deep because I don't have to, right? I just see confirmation, take trade. It's very binary for me. Key level tapped, confirmation, confluence, I take the trade. I don't care what the news is, right? And also from a psychological standpoint, right? Like, don't forget, what were people screaming down here? We see. And again, this is why I say, like, oftentimes if you look at the chart, you're going to be contrarian. Massive weekly bull div. The exact confirmation we looked for to anticipate the potential bottom of the bear market. This is bullish. What was the news saying? FTX. Oh, my God. Regulation. And it's scary, right? Like, the news is scary, right? Like, that is a real thing that happened. People really lost money. I mean, it's definitely not good for crypto. But what is the bias there? It's very logical for people to think like, oh, this is going to cause more downside, right? This is terrible, bearish. Show me the charts. I do not care about the news. And more often than not, the bottoms come in on bearish news. The tops come in on bullish news. The tops come in on bullish news, right? So when you think about it from that perspective as well, now again, we also had bearish news here. Doesn't mean the bottom's definitely in just because we have, bearish talks, right? Geopolitical stuff, whatever. Doesn't mean you can't go lower. But this is just why the news doesn't like this. The news down here, to me, it says, beautiful weekly bullish divergence, bottom's likely in. And bearish news. That kind of makes sense, right? Bottoms come in on bearish news very often. Right? So I'm like, it's a perfect narrative, right? To like make people think it's going lower. Again, I'm not saying it's a big conspiracy or anything like that. It's just the way it usually plays out. To me, it's like it all kind of makes sense, right? So that's just why I don't pay attention to the news that much. Again, I'm not saying it doesn't move the market, but to me, it's not a big part of my analysis, right? Like here, if Trump tweets and you short, right, you're late, right? You have to wait for the retest, right? Again, looking at the chart, not, oh my God, bearish tweet, short, wrecked, right, for the retracement. Us. Oh, my God, it's breaking out. Bullish. Oh, my God. New 150K. Oh, my God. Nope. Bearish confirmations. I'm taking the short. So that's just in my experience, right? I'm sure there's people out there that trade the news and make money. I'm not saying it's impossible. It's just not the way that I roll. I've never looked back and saw a news story and been like, man, I should have traded the news instead of the charts. It's never happened. Let's see. Yeah, shout out to Mr. Market said if you're already positioned well because of the volume profiles, then the news will just add to your already winning trade. It is fun to talk about the news catalyst that's turbocharging. That turbocharged an already good trade. Yeah, shout out to Mr. Market. Again, I think it's stupid to say the news doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter for my trade necessarily. If the news goes off Frankie's analysis. Yeah. I mean, here's the thing, right? If really good news comes out and we pump, right? Well, it's probably very late, right? Oh my God, good news. We're pumped. We're ripping, guys. We're ripping, right? Well, where's the good long? It's right down here. Was the long super easy here? Was this a nice bullish confirmation and then, there's massively bullish news? No, it's a difficult long. Right. Well, it's difficult if you're trading with emotion, right? It's not difficult if you're just waiting for the confirmations. Again, for me, it's binary, right? Value area low, tapped. Check it off. Bullish divergence, technically the medium time frame bull divs, and to be even more specific here, guys, we actually did have low time frame confirmations here, but on the live stream, we talked about how we had no medium time frame bullish divergences. If I want to see a big move up, right, I'm not looking for a 5-minute bull div, right? I want to see something like the 1, the 2, the 3, the 4 hour. So we actually anticipated in the premium Discord that we might get a little bounce here for another push below the lows. I think I'm not going to pull, maybe I will pull it up. I might have to scroll back here. I'm going to give this like 2 seconds. If I can't find it in 5, 4, 3, 2, here it is. Right? We get the bounce. This is the first tap. We had low time frame confirmations, but there's no 1 hour bullish divergence or anything. Right? So what do I say? Suspicious of another low coming to sweep the lows and then get those bullish divergences. This is the 1 hour time frame. We get the bounce. We sweep those lows. We get the 1 hour bullish divergences. On top of that, we got 2, 3, and 4 hour bullish divergences. Now we have medium time frame confirmations, which are much better for a larger continuation up. So I see the confirmations, we take the trade. I don't care what the news says. I don't care how scary it feels. Because guess what? If I get stopped out of that trade, I'm not going to get wrecked. I'm not going to lose my entire account. I'm going to get stopped out for a small loss, and I'm going to live to trade another day. You're not going to win every trade, right? I get stopped out. I've been stopped out before. I got stopped out today. I'll get stopped out again, right? But the key is the risk management and just trading off the system. All the news is just going to add more emotion into your trading, which is what you want to try to get rid of. Biggest motion I need to control is waiting to perfectly hit the absolute peak or bottom. Yeah. For example, when we hit 126K, I did not say 126K top is in. What happens? I don't care if I sell my bag here or here or here or here, right? I'm just trying to catch around the top, right? My entry was around 21K, right? So when I'm in here, I don't care if I get out here or here or here, right? I'm just looking to sell generally at the top. And to be fair, right, even me, I'm not saying 126K, that's the top, right? But what happens? We get the drop. We get the retest. At that point, money flow is coming out. It wasn't really until these retests where I thought it was very likely that the bear market was starting, right? And then 126K was the top. Didn't snipe the absolute top, but I'm really happy I ditched all my Bitcoin up here, right? Most of my Bitcoin. There's part of my Bitcoin that I'll never sell for 10, 20 years. But for the most part, for argument's sake, sold all my Bitcoin here. Thank God, right? Because we saw this move coming before it happened. Didn't have to be the exact top, right? Looking back, I'm not like, oh, man, I should have sold at the very top. I missed out on, what was it? An extra 10%. Oh, my God, right? It was already up hundreds of percents from the buying the bear market lows. So, yeah, you're never always going to catch the, on my smaller time frame like leverage trades, I try to catch the tops and the bottoms more accurately, right? Like my long here, right? Almost in from the exact low. But, yeah, it's a little bit of a different story. Let's see. Pure profit money extracting machine. Shout out to Kodak. Let's get it, baby. Bulls versus Bears. Yeah. We'll see, guys. We'll see. I mean, next week, maybe we get the big, maybe things look a lot more bearish. Maybe we get the big drop, and we'll have to, change the thought process, right? But right now, from, a technical perspective, money flow coming up. It doesn't look too bad. Really doesn't look too bad on that daily. And, like, 2-day also attempting to come up here, right? Back up. Generally this is trending up. The only thing, right, I'd feel really good about this is if we had those high time frame bull divs, right? If we had the boom, right? This, in my opinion, if we had the lower low here, I'd probably be more explicit about the bottom being in. But we don't have that right now, so it is a little bit more unclear. And when we talk about those, cycle bottoms coming in, right, more often than not, you do get one of those higher time frame bull divs. 2022 was absolutely beautiful with the weekly bull div. I mean, we nailed this. Weekly bull div, right? We were waiting for this all the way up here. There's a video on the channel where we looked for it. 2017, we actually had a daily bull div. I'm not going to pull up the daily just to save the confusion, right? But it was a lower low. We had the daily bull div. No weekly bull div, but you had the high time frame bullish divergence. We don't have that right now, right? We don't have a daily bull div. We don't have a 2-day bull div. However, it's not out of the cards, right? In 2014, right, not all accumulation kind of situations call for need the lower low. Here, we bottomed out on capitulation. So is it possible that the bottom's in? Maybe. But I would feel a lot more confident about that if we had some kind of bullish divergence down here, which we just don't have. So, my overall long-term thought process is like, we talked about this recently. The next big significant golden pocket 786, if we can make it up to, $84,000 to $90,000, this would be a big place to look. If we're going to put in a lower high and see another lower low come in, that could be possible, right? If that is the case, what this would do is potentially set us up for a weekly bullish divergence. If we came down to put in that weekly bull div into our next major key levels of support between 58 and 55K, I think that's a good shot at being the bottom. Again, super speculative, super far out in the future, but we'll see, right? And another thing this would do is give us the timing, right? Like the one thing that would not line up here for the bottom being in is, number one, you don't have the high time frame confirmations. Number two, October would kind of be the area where you'd expect the bottom to come in, right? So if we get the push up and then another big capitulation down, I think that would be terrible for sentiment. I think people would really start to be, this is horrible. We're in a bear market. Oh my God, it's going to zero. But then at that point, right, depending on how much time goes by, if that starts coming in around the one thing, right, when we look at the timing of things, where's my cycle chart? Right? These timing measurements are very accurate a lot of the time, right? So if the bottom comes in here, you would expect the bottom to be around October, right? 364 days, 378 days, somewhere in the middle, 370 days. Brings you into like October. And I think this is what a lot of people are waiting for. And for good reason, right? It's like pretty dang accurate, right? Even the tops, 1477, 1428, 1421, very accurate. This is one thing, again, it's not something that, I would necessarily be waiting for, but it would, if we could just do that. I mean, weekly bull divs down here, 370 days around in that October zone. It lines up with the 4-year cycle. I mean, that would be really nice. It's not needed, but it would kind of all line up. I'd feel pretty good about that, to be honest. On the flip side, not impossible that the bottom's in, but it's just really hard for me to confidently call that with the lack of confirmation. Timing, right? You also have the 200-week moving average sitting down here, which oftentimes we either tap or break slightly below. This currently sits at, 60K. I don't know. Just speculative. Get those weekly bull divs. Will look very, very, very similar to this. Again, I'm not here to say this is guaranteed going to happen. It's very speculative, but I don't know. Sometimes these speculative things wind up being very creepily accurate. September, October, yeah, it would make sense. Fire Show, shout out to 999 forever. Is that a silver reference? Lower level, if we put in a new low, I am still going to be looking, if that's what you're asking. I am still going to be looking. I mean, we still have our major support that we've covered many a times in the past. You know, 58 to, I would say, 55-ish K. This is big support, in my opinion. Previous value area high. Monthly, weekly MPOCs. Weekly horizontal. That could look very nice. And the only thing that wouldn't get fulfilled here, right? Like back here, everything got fulfilled perfectly. The timing, the percentage drop, everything. Technical signals, everything lined up perfect here. The only thing that would not fill here perfectly is the 70-ish% correction to the downside, right? Even if we had to go down to 47K, it's only a 62% correction. Traditionally, you would expect at least a 70+% correction which is, I think, why a lot of people look down towards 30K. But again, it's an if this, then that situation. If I get those confirmations here, right, whether we wick down to the 786 or not, like, I'm not just going to be like, but we need this one thing has to happen when everything else is pointing to the bottom being in. Again, I don't know. Maybe it looks like trash here, and we do expect 30K. I'm not going to know until we get down here. I have no information to, call that for a high probability. Like, the only reason this would be high probability is if you're just looking for that 70% correction, which is, arguable, right? I mean, it has happened every time in the past. But you are dealing with logarithmic regression. The pullbacks, the bear markets and the bull markets, percentage-wise, become less and less over time as the market cap grows. I know this is super basic for a lot of the mafia, but, for anybody who's new, you know, 86%, 84%, 77%, right? So you could argue 62% is like a little dramatic of a deviation from those kind of diminished losses, I guess. But again, like, to me, it's a technical confirmation. I'm not going to be like, but it has to go down that much, right? If I see those signs on the chart, like here, I had lower targets, as I say all the time. They didn't get hit. Why was that not a problem for me? Well, number one, I was dollar cost averaging in. Number two, I had those bullish confirmations, made those lower targets much less likely to get tapped. I'm never just waiting for a key level. Everyone who's like waiting for the exact price, they usually get wrecked. People waited for 8K here, they got cooked. People waited for 100K here, they got cooked. People waited for 150K here, they got cooked. I had a 150K target, 156K to be exact. I had a 137K target. I wasn't just waiting for that to get hit. Once I saw those confirmations, less likely to get hit, I'm out. Beautiful decision. It's important to learn how to read the charts, in my opinion. What do you think about the higher time frame market cipher B? Looking at the weekly, we've seen this play out pretty much like every other bear market, more specifically almost 1-to-1 on the 2022 cycle or 2022 bear market. Weekly money flow crosses into the red. At that point, it is very likely that you're already in a bear market, ready for that next big capitulation down. Same exact thing that happened back here. You're already in a bear market, ready for that next big capitulation down. It is at this weekly money flow crossover that I look to start dollar cost averaging into the market. To be specific, money flow crossover makes me anticipate the drop into the deeper bear market. And then once we're in the red, I look to dollar cost average. I'm not looking to snipe the exact low. Buy. I stop my dollar cost average here. At that point, your weekly money flow is coming back up, crosses into the green. Historically, the bottom is in. Hold it for the bull market, right? Remember the people. The bull market's just starting, right? I don't know what they were basing it off of, but they obviously were not reading the charts. Alt season. Crazy. Same thing here. Money flow crossover, big capitulation. Doesn't mean you're not going to go lower, right? But at that point, you're better off looking for the bottom, right? I'm not saying we can't go lower here, but it is historically better to start looking for bottoms after the money flow crosses into the red and gives you the first big capitulation. First big capitulation, you do go lower. You could go lower, right? But you're better off looking for a bottom, 2026 bottom watch. We've been talking about it since we got the drop. Yeah, shout out to 150K never came in the bull market. So 48K isn't coming in the bear either. I don't look at it that way, right? Like 30K is a logical target, right? But again, there's no reason for me to look down there until I have the chart telling me that, right? You cannot ignore either things, right? Two things to be true at the same time. 30K value area low, valid target to look at. Does that mean price is guaranteed to go down there? No. We have never seen you can make an argument for everything, right? We've never seen a 56% drop below the previous all-time high. Right here, we got, I think it was a 12% drop below the all-time high. 23%, right? Roughly. I'm kind of roughing it out here. Does that mean you can't go 50%? No. But is it a valid target, right? I would say valid targets for the bear market. To be clear, this does not mean that I am waiting for them to get hit. right? Just like 12 and 14K were valid targets, doesn't mean they're going to get hit. If I did not get the bullish divergences down here, we probably would have seen 12 to 14K. If we didn't see the bullish divergences or the signals down at 12 to 14K, we probably would have seen 8K. But in either case, I am never just waiting for that number to get hit. Again, they get wrecked. 100K, cooked. 8K, cooked. 150K, cooked, right? It is just not something, there's no guarantee you hit those targets. Does that mean 150K wasn't a valid target? No, it is a valid target, right? But it doesn't guarantee you get up there. So I would say in the bear market, right, the lower targets that are valid, 58 to, I would say, I'm going to drag this down to 47K because you have the POC, right? This is valid. Again, see those weekly bull divs in there? That could be very nice. Right, that's valid. If I get the confirmations before 48K, right, I'm not just going to wait. It has to hit 48K. It has to hit 48K. If I get it at 52K, 51K, I'm going to be looking at that, right? So 48K, I would say 58 to 54, first major zone. 47K, almost 48K POC, definitely a valid level, a very important level to be clear. Could it come in here? Yes. If we test this, this is the big level in my opinion, right? Because if we lose this, if this does not hold, this is a valid target, 100% a valid target. Does not mean it's guaranteed to get hit, but this is valid. If we lose this, I think the chances of coming down into the lower 30s is very high probability. But until we lose that, I'm not just going to sit here and wait for 30K. Showing the exact examples of the similar targets, right? Like if 30K is like the 8K of last bear market, right? Would it be a valid target if we didn't get the confirmations here? Sure, right? You could have gone down to 8K. But again, you have to understand what to look for, right? And I think the easiest way to look at this for a lot of people is simply the RSI, right? I think the RSI is like the easiest indicator for people to understand. You cannot ignore this. Like, yes, you can go down to 30K, but it'd be a 70 whatever % correction. Absolutely, that could be true. But you also cannot ignore anytime you see a weekly oversold RSI, 100% of the time. You got it here, you got it here, and you can just do this yourself. Look, don't take my word for it, right? Just go look at this yourself. And then you can make your own decisions, right? This is never financial advice. We can go down to 8K for everybody, for whoever. We can go down to 8K for all I know, right, is what I wanted to say. Here's your weekly oversold RSI. Bottoms in. Here's your weekly oversold RSI. Bottoms in. Here's your weekly oversold RSI. Bottom's not in, but you're much better off. Like, you're not starting a massive capitulation of the downside. Here we are right now. Oversold RSI. Does that mean you can't go lower? No, but what I will be looking for, not holding anything back here, if we put in another low and this RSI puts in a higher low, there's your weekly bullish divergence. Wherever that decides to come in, 55K, 58K, 47K, 38K, whatever it is, that is what I'm looking at. I don't know where it's going to come in, right? No one knows. But when you know what to look for, you can watch for it. And from a super simple standpoint, there's your oversold RSIs. I don't do this, right? This is personally not my preferred method of getting into the market. I like to dollar cost average. But at the end of the day, those weekly oversold RSIs, never a bad time to buy. Never a bad time to buy. Not a bad time to buy. Oh, but we went lower. Still not a bad time to buy. Right? So again, when I say 2026 bottom watch, I don't mean bottom has to be in right now. Right? Could go lower. Just look at a historic. Go mark this off on your chart. Pull up the RSI, default settings, go to the weekly, highlight your oversold RSI, and see what has happened in the past. Has a 100% hit rate so far. Hopefully that makes sense. Yeah, I was happy to buy. Shout out to Betamax says, I was happy to buy in at 58K. And guess what? If it goes down to 47K, oh no, you didn't snipe the exact bottom. Doesn't matter, right? Again, you want to have like for me personally, for spot bags, right? I started buying in on here, right? So I don't remember every single exact order. I made many buys. But let's say my first buy was at 26K, But we went down to 15K. It's okay, right? Weighted dollar cost average. Buy. You get a big capitulation, you can, go in heavier, right? Giving you an average entry cost somewhere in there, right? And then you're looking to catch the overall move. I think personally, from a cycle perspective, honestly, trying to snipe the exact bottom, just like in a bull market, I had my target at 137K. 137K. Did I just wait for 137K to buy or to sell? No, right? I read the chart. You're seeing like a pattern here, right? I don't just wait for the target. It's valid, but if I see those confirmations before that target gets hit and it becomes less likely that target's going to get hit, I'm getting out, right? I'm here to make money. I'm not here to be right. So hopefully that makes sense for you guys. Weekly MACD turning green. We actually took a look at this on one of last week's live streams or maybe earlier this week. I don't look at the MACD very often. But, I mean, we actually mark these out. They're very similar to the weekly RSIs, right? You got the blue line crossing over the orange. 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 Right? Same exact thing. Literally. Right? Even if you go for this first one that got rejected, like you're still better off looking for a bottom to form rather than waiting for a massive 60% drop to the downside. So yes, the percentages might be a little bit off, right? But the indicators are exactly the same. Right? But there's the actual crossover, bottoms in. Here, you got a little crossover, still continued down. But again, money flow is not in the red on the weekly just yet. Full crossover happens right here. 2022. You got a little fake out here before continuing down. But again, weekly money flow was also crossing into the red. But here's your crossover. Bottom was not in, but again, better off looking for accumulation. And here we are, right? I don't really look at the MACD very often, to be honest. I like Market Cipher B. It's the easiest and simplest way to look at it, in my opinion. And when you look from a Market Cipher B perspective, weekly money flow crosses red, big capitulation. Money flow crossover into the red, big capitulation, right? And honestly, it's not going to help you snipe the bottom, right? But almost a 100% hit rate on this as well. Weekly money flow crosses green, whether it's a fake out or not. Once that weekly money flow crosses green, bottoms in. Bottoms in. The bottom's in. The bottom's in, right? So from a very simple way to look at it is when the money flow crosses into the red, you're in a bear market. When the money flow crosses into the green, you're at the start of the bull market, right? Or the bottom is in. Money flow crosses red, top is in. Money flow crosses green, bottom is in. Money flow crosses red, top is in. Money flow crosses green, bottom's in. Money flow crosses red, the top is in. Money flow not crossing green just yet. Yeah, but it's going down, so make money on the way. That's the beauty of being a trader. It feels like cheating. It literally feels like cheating. Not only are we up on the long, right, but made tons of money on the short from here to here, tons of money on the shorts from here to here. So just another bull market. Flip the chart upside down. As a trader, you can long and short. Price goes up or down, right? Doesn't matter. We just need the price. As long as candles move, right? It doesn't matter if it's going up or down. It's the same thing to us. We make money in both directions. We just need the volatility. Shout out to Wick589 says Frankie uses the MACD in his relationship with us, but only on our birthdays when we did something mean and he's apologizing. Shout out to Wick589. I don't even know what that means. Shout out to Wick. Welcome in, brother. OG of the CandleMafia. Stream is amazing. Shout out to Paul. I appreciate you, bro. Welcome in. I would say subscribe to the channel, but you're chatting, so it means you're subscribed. Good move. When is the bull market? I mean, if only we knew. What I can tell you is once that money flow crosses green, it has a 100% hit rate of the bottom being in, right? Technically, right, where's the bear market start? The bear market started at 126K. Does that mean we're going to know 126K is the top immediately? No. Where's the bull market begin? Well, you're not going to know until that weekly money flow crosses green for me. But again, this is why it's important to understand the context, right? Like dollar cost average, another drop, dollar cost average, again, dragging your average entry price lower and lower. And then it's not until, right? I would not wait for you could technically, right? If you wait for the weekly money flow crossover into the green, you buy, you're essentially in the bull market, right? It's not a bad move. You still have a lot of gains to be had. But again, what I like to do is I like to dollar cost average as price goes down, right? I'd rather buy as price is going down than buy as price is going up, right? So I don't mind buying and then going lower and buying again, right? You're just getting cheaper and cheaper prices. So, historically, I would look for the weekly money flow crossover that has a 100% hit rate. And then you could also look at like the bull market support band, which is a little bit more choppy, right? You come up, historically, as long as you remain below the bull market support band, rejection, then you flip it into support, bottom is in, bring it back to 2017 or 2018, you're below it, you flip it, bottom is in. Yes, you got revisited to the lows, right, but you do not break the low. The bottom is still technically in. So there's many ways, right? I can't tell you when to buy Bitcoin, right? I don't wait to flip the bull market support band and then buy. Right, I just like to dollar cost average on the way up, and then by the time the bull market support band gets flipped, I'm already in the market. So, to each his own. But here, you're below it. You get back above it, bottom is in. Then you sustainably get above it, and the bull market continues. So, there's no magic green dot. I'm sure we could find a green dot on Market Cipher B where the bottoms have been in, but there's no magic signal. It's going to say buy right now and you're guaranteed to make money, right? You have to have a plan. You have to have a strategy. Let's see. When it's my birthday, wifey uses the MACD. Shout out to Wig 589. I use my MACD on my birthday. Where's Rob? Shout out to Rob the Crypto Snob. We're sending out the bat signal to Rob the Crypto Snob. It is his birthday today, guys, so he might be out partying. Bitcoin to zero, altcoins to all-time highs. Speaking of altcoins, guys, let's go ahead and take a look at some of the altcoins here. Ethereum. As we've talked about, major resistance still sits at the same place, right? We got rejected at this value area low. Next value area low does sit here at about 2280 up to, call it, $2,300. This is your next major area of resistance. Again, this is just your major value area from back here in 2024. Once we get accepted back into this range, let's say Bitcoin decides to get the rip to 80 to 90K. For me, that's Ethereum at the POC / previous value area low right here at about 2,700 to 2,630. So if we keep, this is resistance until proven otherwise, right? It can get choppy, right? And at the end of the day, it could be a massive rotation back down. But once we get back above this value area, we get accepted into this range with money flow coming up. Money flow indicates the overall trend for anybody new. Daily money flow is in the green. Look at this. Daily red dot, just like on Bitcoin. VWAP coming down. This could, for anybody new, bear with me, OGs. When we look at Market Cipher, you have the green dots, you have the red dots. These indicate ebbs and flows. Green dot, red dot, green dot, red dot, green dot, red dot. Money flow, there's your zero line, there's your money flow coming into the green, indicates the overall trend. So when I look at this, just like on Bitcoin, same exact theory. Red dot could be a pullback for potential higher lows and higher highs because money flow is coming up, indicating the trend could continue to the upside. But when that red dot comes, I would be looking for a pullback. On that pullback, I would view it as a lackluster retracement, higher lows for higher highs. Once we get accepted above this value area low, we could start marking this out now. This could be your doorway to higher prices. I know doorway is not two words, but that's how I draw it. That's how I write it. That is what it is. Doorway to higher prices. Once we can reclaim this value area low, we now have the open target at the POC of the range. Once you hold the value area low, next likely place for price to gravitate to is the POC. So if that money flow continues green, maybe we get the pullback, but once we get back in here, we can look for that move up towards the POC. And again, this level structurally is very similar, right? Here's that same kind of value area on Bitcoin. This is like the $86,000 value area, $86,000 value area low on Bitcoin. So if Bitcoin gets that move, obviously Ethereum's very likely to follow suit, get back in here, move up towards the POC. Maybe this is closer to like $78,000 to $80,000 on Bitcoin. Flip the POC. Bitcoin goes to 86K. Ethereum can start working its way up here to about 2880. So biggest targets, I'd look at it. This has got to be NPOC probably. Yeah. I'd be looking at the next major target if we get above this value area low, sitting between 2630 to 2733. Closest, most important level of resistance is, of course, going to be the value area low, and we also have our 786 in here, right? So just like Bitcoin, if it gets above its, I'll pull it up here. If Bitcoin can get above that 786, open door to $78,000 to $80,000. Ethereum gets above its 786, pretty open door towards about 2630. Because if you're looking for a high, a low, a lower high, and a massive lower low, it's probably going to come in towards that 786. And you do have confluence there. So get above here. Many reasons to be looking for the bigger move up. Until then, watch that daily red dot. Maybe that daily red dot can give us a cool off. Biggest level of support that I would be looking at on Ethereum if we get a bigger cool off on that daily red dot. Of course, you could look for your local levels, local golden pocket retracement sitting here at about $2,200. But the biggest level, in my opinion, is going to be the value area high, sitting at $2,100 down to the POC. So I would still say, this is the level you don't want to lose. If we have to get some kind of big pullback, you want to hold on top of this to continue up. Once you lose that POC, yikes. Probably looking down towards that value area low at 1900. Until then, higher lows and higher highs. Hopefully, we can hold this level. And, ideally, we don't even have to come back down there. But if we did, that is the major level to look at between $2,100 and $2,064 at the value area high, POC, daily naked point of control. Not holding anything back on this live stream. Shout out to Jay Violet in the chat. Welcome in. Elite CandleMafia, female CandleMafia member. Shout out to Bazing said, I love you, but be a man and say what way you think it'll go. Shout out to Bazing. It depends on the context of your question. I think over time, looking at the daily time frame, I think it is much more likely to continue up. Does not mean you can't pull back, right? This is why I can't just say up only, right? Because then people are going to long here thinking it's never going to go back down. So money flow on the daily being in the green, clear bias would be continue up, right? But then people get confused. They're like, well, I thought you were going to say, you said it was going to go up and we're pulling back. What's going on, right? Well, price moves in waves, right? So I would say my overall bias here is cautiously bullish, right? As long as this money flow stays in the green, I'm looking up, right? But if I can make some money on these scalp shorts on the way down before it goes up, I'm 100% going to do that. So there you go. We will moon tomorrow. Shout out to Safe Man. Oh man, that reminds me. That's tragic for me. That brings up some trauma of Safe Moon. Man. Shout out to anybody who bought Safe Moon the day it came out, turned $100 into like $20K, and then watched it go back to zero. R.I.P. money. Anyway, shout out to Creighton C. Thank you for the super chat, bro. Welcome in. He says, good looking, smart young man. You like candles and lines. Have you ever thought of becoming what's called a trader? Love you. Say hi to Mrs. Candles. Give Lucy some love. Say, save a bully. Signs Frankie. Shout out to Crane C. I love you back, bro. I love you back. And I will give Lucy love. Guys, I can't with this dog. I can't with her. She's my life. She's my life. Mrs. Candles gets jealous. She is, I know everybody thinks their dog is perfect, but Lucy is amazing. She's finally starting to poop outside. And once she gets better potty trained, I'm going to have her stay in the studio for the live streams. And she'll probably jump up on the chair when she gets big. And she'll be hanging out with us every day. She'll be in here with Phoebe. Phoebe's still sitting on the floor here. But she's potty trained. So, Creighton, how you doing? Shout out to Creighton. I love when the OGs come back. Oh, speaking of jealous Mrs. Candles and Lucy. Wow, we didn't even summon you guys. Oh, hang on. I don't got her. Oh, hi, Mama. Hi, Lucy. Hi, Mommy. How are you? Good girl. Say hi to the Candle Mafia. No. Okay. She's biting the mic. Good girl. Say hi to the Mafia. We'll put you up to the camera. Okay. Oh, my God. She's a wacko. Say hi. Say hi, Lucy. You're a good girl. Yes. Good girl, yes. I love you so much. I'll be off in a minute. Can you give us a bark for the Candle Mafia? Okay. All right. Good girl. Say hi. I know she's trying to bite me. Okay. All right. Okay. Oh, okay. She's got hypodermic needles for teeth right now. And there's a hole in my finger now. Shout out to Lucy, the Candle Mafia, the second Candle Mafia mascot. I almost said aspect. Oh, man. Oh, she bit the inside of my nose. Oh, if Lucy doesn't make you smash the like button, nothing will. Shout out to you. If you guys don't like the TA, if you don't like the price action, if you don't like me, if you don't like my ugly face, smash the like button for Lucy. Do the Lion King. Bring her back, Mrs. Candles. Bring her back. You're right. I should have done the Lion King. We'll take the copyright strike. Off in a minute, a.k.a. 45 minutes, probably. Shout out to Indian Martini. The TA is great, but I'm here for Lucy. Shout out to Panda Prophet. I don't blame you. I like the weekends because I get to spend a lot of time with Lucy. I don't know if Mrs. Candles will come back, but we'll do the Lion King ceremony if she comes back. Whether it's blood or coffee, you're always spilling something on the keyboard. That is 100% true. I don't know how this keyboard is still alive. Guys, I have an emotional attachment to my keyboard. I've had this keyboard since 2018. 2017. I bought crypto. Actually, I bought crypto for the first time on my phone. But I traded crypto in 2016 and 2017 on this exact keyboard. And it's still alive. It rattles around. There's some things rattling around in there. But it's taken coffee spills, blood from Lucy biting me, energy drinks. I've spilled so much stuff on this keyboard. It's still kicking. So show Lucy so the dog coins can run. Well, there we go. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at some more altcoins here, guys. We took a look at Ethereum. Let me just take a look at the 4-hour here real quick. Yeah, I mean, I would have an alert set here, 2278. And, yeah, I mean, like major support down here between $2,100 and $2,065. Let's take a quick look at Solana, which, come on, Solana. Solana just kind of lagging here inside the volume profile, but we are holding that low. Push into the POC, still inside the profile, attempting to flip this point of control. Solana kind of like lackluster here, but key level to the upside. We're inside the profile. We're attempting to flip this POC. Next major target is going to be that value area high, 88.50 is the value area high. Let's zoom out here a little bit. And again, right, this is like Bitcoin kind of up here, approaching the highs. Ethereum out of its range, approaching the highs. Solana just kind of sleeping on them for Solana. But from a money flow perspective, you got the 4 and 5 hour money flow in the green. You got the 8 hour money flow attempting to come up. Daily money flow crossing into the green as well. So from a context sentiment standpoint, very similar situation, but the key levels I would watch. And let me actually update this because this range, we haven't looked at Solana in quite some time. Let's pull this current. I'm going to update this value area. So you're tapping on the POC. So I would say value area low, golden pocket 786. This zone is still major key level to hold to continue to the upside. If we come back down, I personally would want to hold on top of that golden pocket to stay within that volume profile kind of theory. Value area low sits at $80.58. 786 sits at 78.85. And then your value area high sits up here at 89.76. Right? Would I long here? No. Right? I would have to have been long from the value area low. But overall, if we could stay inside the profile, flip that POC, next stop would be the value area high. Money flow on the 6-hour crossing into the green as well. So, potential turbulence. But overall, I'd like to see this volume profile fill if we can get the continuation to the upside on everything else. And if we have to get the pullbacks first, you're hoping to hold inside the range, back to the POC, back to the high. So this is the major key levels. And then, if we're looking for big moves up, it's very similar to Ethereum and Bitcoin. Let's pull up the visible range volume profile, right? Again, structurally, it's very similar. Break above the highs, 78 to 80K for Bitcoin is kind of sitting around 107 to, I'd say, $100 on Solana. But overall, high volume, low volume. Of course, this can add a little resistance. But overall, break down below into your low volume gap, which I will mark out for you guys. Whoops. There's your gap, right? Same thing it's the same thing, right? You look at the candles, take ticker and the price away. It's the same thing as Bitcoin. Lose these lows, probably a fast drop down. I'll save you the long-winded explanation, but low volume gap, not a lot of support, nothing but air, fast drop down, right? In the same manner, we break above here, start snapping the high. Pretty low volume gap leading you up to about $121 to $127. I'm not saying you have to go there right now. And, of course, this is going to be resistance. This will be local resistance. But overall, right, pretty low volume gap. When we're talking high time frame levels, Bitcoin's mooning, Ethereum's mooning, right? This is going to give you a low resistance area. And I'll just see if you have any confluence over here. You probably have some kind of NPOC. Can't make it up. There's your daily MPOC. Got another daily MPOC right here. Another daily MPOC right here. Right, so there's that high volume node. There's the naked daily MPOC. So I would say break above the highs. Your next local level will be 103.21. Break above that. I'm looking upwards of 117.75 into the value area low at 122.59. So there you go. Impulse out of this range. Price could start to seek out the next area of fair value. Value. Impulse out of here, look to go here, and yeah. Lose this low, right? If we lose this value area and Bitcoin puts in a new low, probably looking, come on, I'd be looking down towards the 50s, right? But until money flow fakes out into the red, right now we got the money flow crossing into the green. We've been talking about, we haven't been able to talk about price going up for a while, right? Now we have a reason to start looking for it. So we won't cover the lower levels, but you really do have to hold this 786 in my opinion. The viewers went higher when Lucy was on stream. I wish she would stay still. Otherwise, we'll get a little swing, and she'll just sit here with her little fat legs hanging out, and she'll just look at the camera. I wonder if we can get a safe swing for Lucy to just kind of sit in a harness and hang out next to me. Just right here. We could just pet her while we're doing TA. Shout out to KPTT. Said big dump incoming for Bitcoin as the weekend started. Shout out to KPTT. Big dump? Oh, there we go. Little pop to the downside. I mean, I wouldn't call this big, but could it turn into something big? Again, the invalidation for the overall continuation up, guys. Where do I start to flip where it's oh, guys, maybe this is just going to be another rotation of the value area for a big rotation down, right? Bullish case, daily money flow coming up, 2-day money flow coming up, 8-hour money flow coming up, lackluster pullbacks, higher lows, higher highs is the overall anticipation. Where does that change? When we start seeing this daily money flow fake out into the red. That's where I say, hey, chances of coming into that gap are much less likely, and we can look for the rotation back down and potentially break below 60K. Right now, it's not something I'm looking at until we see that fake out. And hey, if the top is in, we're shorting the premium, so we'll short the top once again. Shout out to Indy Martini, 1 hour, 16-minute confirmed. Going to 0. There's your, or 1 minute. I think I said 1 hour. Yeah, so you got your tapped weekly. 1 minute money flow crossover. 15-hour red dot. I got a 2-stroke dirt bike out the window. I don't know who's riding a 2-stroke dirt bike around here, but hey. Happy Friday, Frankie. Shout out to Dave Hagan. Welcome in, brother. Welcome in. It's going to range. Guys, I'll tell you what. I have an emotional resistance against having this thing range again. I don't want this to range to continue. Now, of course, we're in a ranging context. Could happen, right? But I really pray not. And if we do, I hate to say it, I hope that we don't bounce. I hope that we just get the big drop. I'm over this range. I'm totally over it. As you guys know, right, I've been putting market updates out on some days, and it's just because there's not a lot to talk about within this range, right? When something changes, I mean, I always drop the market updates. You know, you guys will at least get one piece of content per day from me. But it's really hard because, like, it's hard for me to not stream for 2 hours, and I just wind up repeating myself. It's quite frustrating for me. And I'd rather save the energy, put out a market update, work on other stuff, and then go live when there's actual, like, something new to talk about. Let's go Big Dumps live. Big Dumpers. Shout out to Big Huggies. Get your Huggies on, baby. Get your Huggies on. We're going to 0. I don't like the range either, yeah. Listen, from a trading perspective, I love it, right? Like, in the premium, literally, I don't say this to brag. I just say this, like, shout out to the volume profile. Short from the high, long from the low, short from the high, long from the POC, short from the high, back down to the low, long from the low, and now we're short from the high technically. So, yeah, like, we're able to capitalize on all these moves. We had some local trades in here, scalps as well. We had the scalp from here that we took, the scalp short down to the POC, but of course the anticipation was higher low, higher high. But, you know, it's fine for trading, right? But I like to keep that more in the Discord. It's hard because, like, on YouTube, it's hard for me to find some kind of, like, story to tell, right? You know, money flow coming up, the continuation of the upside. Like, in this chop, it's just really hard. It's like, cool, look, guys, I'm making money trading. We're making money on the key levels. But from, like, a context perspective, it's like we're in a bear market. Like, let's range. Like I always say, they like to scare you out, bore you. If this doesn't bore you out, they scare you out. Then they bore you. If that doesn't bore you out, they scare you out. Then they bore you, right? So, you know, that's why I like trading the volume profiles, because inside this chop in the Discord, we could trade this, right? It doesn't make for exciting content, but we could trade this, right? We could trade this. Price ranges 80% of the time. So not only do the volume profiles give you high probability setups, but it also gives you, like, the most amount of opportunities, right? Because you're trading what the market is doing more often than not, which is ranging. Right? The impulses last a lot shorter than the ranges do. You range for a long time, then you impulse for a short period of time, then you range for a long period of time, then you impulse a short period of time, then you range for a long period of time, then you impulse a short period of time, then you range a long period of time, impulse a short period of time, range, impulse, right? These ranges are much longer, which is nice because there's plenty of time and plenty of setups to make some money. And then you just let those winners run. Man, trading really does feel illegal sometimes. It's like, it's a weird thing, especially when you make money in both directions. Shout out to Connor, who says, I've actually loved watching you talk about the volume profiles. It has really helped me to understand it more. Yeah, shout out to Connor. Absolutely. That's why we make the content, right? Like, the volume profiles have changed my life. I guess trading overall, but the volume profiles, again, by no means are you going to learn a volume profile and the next day you're going to snipe every trade and be a profitable trader. You have to be realistic, right? There's a lot more to trading than just understanding the key levels in the TA. But, you know, volume profiles are a big thing. that really helped me to understand the market, right? And really start winning and finding a lot more trades. The market is an auction, right? And the volume profiles help you find those failed auctions, right? Cheap price, expensive price. Cheap price, expensive price. Cheap price, expensive price. And sometimes in these ranges, I don't have a strong bias, right? Like, where's the next big move, right? Well, now we could say money flow is coming up, so maybe we can look up. But in here, it's like things are super choppy. So it's like I don't really have a bias, right? We're crushing the trades, making money, but like there's not really a strong bias in either direction, right? If we get the bigger breakdown, we hold the shorts from the high. If we get the bigger breakup, we hold the longs from the low, and they turn into from singles and doubles to home runs. That's where I always get into the situation where it's like I don't really care what happens because I'm positioned beautifully based off the volume profile for long from the low or short from the high. So yeah, I mean, and then you can find these on any time frame, right? Oh my God, here's a volume profile. Long from the low, short from the high. Back to the PLC, short from the high, back to the low. You find them everywhere. What is the 50 EMA that you use? Shout out to D Toro. I don't know exactly what you mean by 50. You're talking about the 50-week moving average. That is the I just use this indicator. I don't know if that's what you're talking about. Weekly and daily SMA 50, 100, 200. That's the 50-week moving average that I look at. I think that must be what you're talking about. And then you just go in here and make sure it's the 50-week moving average. Yeah, shout out to Swiffle says, volume profiles, value area high and value area low change my trading. Yeah, I mean, even at the end of the day, right, like if it's the first thing that you learn, you're at least going to be looking for longs, right? Now, again, I don't always long the value area low if I don't have confirmation, right? So there is more. You have to understand context. You have to understand confirmations, which is all stuff that we teach here. But, at least you're going to be looking for a long. Let's just say you don't know about confirmations, and you're just like, I'm at the value area low. This is cheap. I'm taking a long. Of course, you come down. You probably would have gotten stopped out of that trade because you didn't understand to look for the medium time frame confirmation. But at least you're looking for a long where price is cheap and you get some kind of a move up, right? But again, by no means is this just one thing that you learn and it's just like you're going to take a million trades, you're never going to lose again. That's not how trading works. I like to keep it realistic here. Trading can change your life, but it does take time to learn. Let's see. Shout out to J. Dot. Welcome in, brother. Welcome in. Money flow says higher. Absolutely does. Can we check Zcash? Yeah, we can check Zcash. We actually looked at Zcash recently, tapping into the golden pocket, anchored VWAP. We had some confluence up here. We got the little pullback. But once you break that golden pocket, the next place to look at was that 786/value area low. Right? You have your value down here that you've built out. You have your value up here. Once you impulse out of this range, price is likely to seek out the next area of fair value, which sat right here. Well. Where is price sitting right now? Very interesting. And even the local volatility, right? This is kind of where my job gets hard, right? People say, you bullish or you bearish, right? Well, hey, you're hitting resistance. You're probably going to get a pullback. But overall, you would expect, just take these, clean this up a bit. From a volume profile perspective, let me take this off, right? Again, not that it's not important to look at, right? You get the pullback, but overall, value. If you impulse out of this range, you're very likely to seek out previous value. You could argue you had previous value right here. Obviously developed a little bit more over time as you bing-bonged around down here. But you deviate here, you're probably coming into this profile. Once you impulse out of this range or volume profile, price is very likely to seek out previous fair value. Where's the previous fair value start? Right at that value area low. Impulse, boom, price is going to gravitate there. Just like on Bitcoin. Come on, TradingView. Just like once you impulse out of this range, price is very likely to seek out the previous value. You had value here. Price leaves this zone. It's very likely to seek out this level. We bottomed out right on that value area low. If we leave this local value area, price is likely to seek out the previous value, which sits right here. Or if you just want to look at the bigger range, deviate out of this bigger range, impulse, price is going to gravitate here. Where does this sit? Between $86,000 and $90,000. The same target we're looking at, right? So very clean kind of volume profile gravitation there. Now, this is resistance, but at the end of the day, if you can remain inside this value area, POC is the next target to the upside at 409.16. Let's take a look at the daily real quick. Daily red dot looking to print. So, I mean, this is resistance. So I would say, this is resistance until proven otherwise. You can get pullbacks, but once you get back above this value area low, next target becomes the POC. Currently, you're above the value area, so you could look at that POC as a target. But I would say if this red dot prints on Zcash and you get a pullback and lose this value area low, 786, I would say the biggest level of support to watch is going to be this anchored VWAP. Sitting at currently 324.52. This is pulled from the previous high up here at 553.63. If you're going to flip this trend to a major uptrend, get back in here and start a much bigger move to the upside to maybe fill this profile in full, this would be the level to hold. Anchored VWAP. Once you lose that anchored VWAP, well, yikes, right? Then maybe the downtrend continues. But if you could flip this, POC would be the next target at 408. And, of course, that is if you lose that 786. Chances, if you don't lose this, this is technically open, but this red dot on the daily does make me suspicious of a pullback. So if you're going to get a daily red dot to pull you back here, I would say you want to flip this to support. And it's also like a support resistance flip, right? So you're definitely at resistance. You got 2 MPOCs. But if you could flip this all to support, the goal is to get back in here, go to the POC. Once you get there, flip the POC. You do have local daily MPOCs here, but just from a high time frame perspective, once you get above that POC, money flow continues up. These are the next key levels. Major target up there at the value area high 545. I'm not saying you have to go there, right? I don't want to get anybody, I don't want to cause hopium or FOMO here. But just from a technical perspective, daily money flow coming up. Come on. 2-day money flow attempting to come up as well. So, but this is definitely resistance. This is not, I would not be chasing along here, right? I would have to wait for some kind of a pullback. This would be area of interest number 1. Once you lose this, whoops. Come on. Come on. I would say this is important support. So if you get a pullback, I would watch this zone between 341.30 and 321.50. You also have some 4-hour bear divs up here. So yeah, I'd be careful of some downside turbulence. Lose the 786. This is your biggest level. Once you lose that, I'd be looking for a bigger drop. See where this anchored VWAP sits. Yeah, at that point, you're pretty much looking at the value area high. We'll cross that bridge if and when we get there. But right now, I would say these are the biggest levels to look at. Scalp short playing out. Shout out to Mikey. Let's go, baby. Let's go on Bitcoin. There's an anchor VWAP. It's really crazy how, not very shortly after, premium live stream ends at 4:29. At 4:30, anchored VWAP gets tapped. Insane. Oh, yeah. We got the giveaways to do. Man, we're losing track of time here. All right. Tony D, do you want to drop the giveaways? We got 10 free bags of USDT for anybody who smashed that like button and is subscribed to the channel. I never say that. You do have to be a subscriber to the channel for Nightbot to pick you. Probably should have been more. I actually didn't know that until Tony D told me. Best charter on the planet. Shout out to Hopium Copium. I appreciate you, brother. Let's run those giveaways, baby. We got 10 free bags of USDT. They're watching everything. Yeah. Shout out to Sakura. The market makers they be watching us. They be watching us. Okay, loud banging downstairs. Not sure. I don't know what that is. Hopefully everything's okay. That was alarming. There we go. Pinned to the top of the chat are the winners. Shout out to Panda Profit Sambusa. I don't know if I said that right. Chief, Crypto Lodge, Frank. Hey, nice name. I like that name. Saturo, Cardano is the future. Always bullish. Bubble Man, and Gerald. Shout out to you guys. You wanted some free USDT. Go to the free Discord. Link in the description down below. Go to the Help Center and claim your free money. Making it rain up here on the Frankie Candles live stream. Been doing it for 4 years, and we're never going to stop. All right, let's see. Shout out to Silvio. But yeah, guys. Didn't realize we're running up on 2 hours here, but Tapped Weekly, attempting to hold the support here. But yeah, overall, if you just tuned in, scrub back to the beginning of the stream. We have tapped into the last level of resistance. Between 73.3, 50, and 74K, right? So at this point, right, we've already tapped the anchored VWAP. I would say the next last place to reject from is that $74,000 level. If we can get, again, after maybe a pullback, if we can get up here and flip that level, $74,000, get above that and hold, that is, in my opinion, the best chance to get that big move to the upside. If we have to get a bigger pullback, the biggest level of support, did I delete that daily? No, we got the daily MPOC up there. If we do end up coming back down for the bigger pullback, I am going to be looking. Again, we'll have the local levels in the premium Discord, but from a very simple perspective, the biggest level to hold on top of, in my opinion. All right, we got barking and loud banging. If we come back down, really would ideally like to stay above that value area high at 71. And I'm going to mark this off as a zone because we have the two value area highs here, the macro, and they're both kind of macro, but there's two ranges that I'm looking at here. I would like to hold above $71,000 to $70,193. In the best case scenario, if we get the bigger pullback and we're able to hold here, this is my biggest area of interest. Once we break back down into the volume profile, we'll cross that bridge if and when we get there. But under that, we covered all the key levels underneath that, so I don't want to repeat myself. Scrub back to the beginning of the stream, but we do have those next key levels sitting below us. I'm not going to mark them off in detail, but they're sitting right here. We kind of moved them into zones in the beginning of the stream, so scrub back to watch that. I don't want to repeat myself, but if we get the bigger pullback, guys, watch that value area high. The goal here is to not get accepted back into this volume profile. Stay out of here, continue up, flip 74K. I'm looking for the big move up towards $78,000 to $80,000. Come on, Bitcoin. Money flow coming up. Come on, baby. Let's keep it going. Locally, watch for the pullback here. We got the tap of the key resistance. You got some local. Yeah, maybe some bearish divergences forming here, but again, my bias is lackluster pullbacks for higher lows and higher highs. So that's what I'm going to be looking for here. Come on, fingers crossed. Pray to the candle gods. Me and Lucy, we have a routine that we do every night. We sit at the end of the bed. We light the candles. Our favorite, mahogany teak wood. We light them. We pray to the candle gods for continuations higher, for the longs to continue to play out. So I'm going to continue to hold the long here, and if that scalp short decides to end up playing out, we'll make some money on the way down there before hopefully getting a continuation higher. So with all that being said, thank you all for tuning in, guys. Have a great weekend. Smash that like button on your way out. If you're looking for a place to trade or looking to try out any of the indicators that I used on this live stream, check the links in the description down below and help support the channel. That's all I got for today's live stream. Shout out to Wick589. Shout out to Theo Rodriguez. Shout out to Jesse. Darren Does Things. Tony D. The mods in the chat. Bubba. Rat IRL. And last but not least, shout out to Stryker. That's all I got. Have a great weekend. Frankie Candles out. Bing bong!
At the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Ayy, on the road, here we go, here we go. Yeah, we winning by a landslide. Never see me coming, I'm a landmine. Yeah, I ain't taking orders in command like. Yeah, you about to see me on demand like. You know on demand. If you ain't know, you about to understand. Yeah, I got the team by my side, right hand. Yeah, take it to a string, you ain't seen it like that. Yeah, and it's the dream, and we coming for the bag. Yeah, and we ain't never going back now. Future expedited, now we on the fast track now. They won't lend a hand, now they see us on the map now. It's time to act out. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Ayy, on the road, here we go, yeah. At the top of the class on a roll, ayy, and it's time to run it up, yeah, you know, yeah. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, yeah. On the road, here we go, here we go. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Ayy, on the road, here we go, yeah. At the top of the class on a roll, ayy, and it's time to run it up, yeah, you know, yeah. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, yeah. On the road, here we go, here we go. Here we go. On the road, here we go, here we go.
Hasta pasta. Bing bong.